Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Golfer Today, hosted by Tyler Dice Golf. We have a great new show planned for y'all today. As always, I try and provide the best insights into the world of golf, whether it is tips, instruction, equipment, or anything else golf related. This week's main topic is going to be on getting it going when the pressure is on. As always, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and this week's tip of the week is going to be on course management. So let's get started. Okay, main topic, getting it going when the pressure is on. What does this even mean? Isn't it just golf, right? Is that what it is, right? What pressure am I even talking about? So to get started, let's talk about what the main topic even means. When you golf, you play a certain way, and when you golf with pressure, you play a different way. Stress affects how well you perform, and the more you feel the pressure or stress, the more things can go sideways. This is very, very true. Okay, pressure can be a few extra people in the tee box, playing for something you really want, your club championship, a tournament, or any other competitive venue. So, anything that really adds pressure is adding pressure. And make no mistake, if you aren't prepared to play under pressure, things will go sideways in a hurry. Even the simplest of shots can drive you nuts and give you a headache. So this is no joke. Okay, I've played a lot of competitive golf. I'm going to keep playing a lot of competitive golf. And you won't believe how bad some of the shots you see from people that are really good golfers when you're trying to play competitive golf. It is crazy. I've watched some really, really good players hit some really, really big bonehead shots. I mean, guys that are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 under par. And then they come to a hole and they make triple. And it's a simple hole, like there's trouble on one side, and they just completely blow it up. And they play fine the rest of the way. That's pressure. Okay, that's what pressure can do to you. Now, how do you get it going when I'm telling you things will go sideways in a hurry? The key is having go-to shots to rely on, getting used to the pressure, and having a good understanding of your swing and what it can do. So this is huge. Knowing what your swing is and what it can do is, it is so freaking important. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've played golf with, and I want myself into this category where I thought my swing was good or it could do certain things, and when you add the pressure to it, it's not there. And so you need to know, what your swing can do. You need to know what you can rely on it to do, and you have to get used to playing in the pressure. It's not easy to show up for the first time when there's a lot of pressure and play well. Very few people play well the first time when they have to deal with pressure. Okay? It's not something you can just show up and do. Now, you need to know what your misses are and where they go, knowing what your swing can pull off, and having shots perform very well for you can make a huge difference. And so what I mean by that is you literally need to know anywhere where the golf ball can go with your golf swing. So, you need to have a really good idea of if your miss is always to the right, you need to know what misses you hit that go certain distances to the right. If you miss to the left, you need to know where left is for you. Do you duck hook shots left? Do you pull them left? Do you hook them left? So these things are really, really important. If the ball is above your feet, so say you're a right-handed golfer and the ball's above your feet, all right, and your miss is a hook to the left, this is a really, really hard lie for you, especially if you're in an uncomfortable yardage. So say you're a little bit farther than, say, a normal 8-iron, and you're trying to hit it a little harder. Well, that ball's definitely going to want to go more to the left. It's definitely going to want to hook more to the left for you. And that's because of the lie, and that's because that's generally where your miss is. So you need to ask yourself, hey, do I aim more to the right, or do I just, deal with the miss that could happen where it hooks left of the green. Because maybe there's trouble right. Maybe there's trouble left. And so you need to ask yourself, well, am I better off hitting it 20 yards right of the green? Or am I better off bringing the trouble that's left into play? So these things are decisions you're going to have to make on the golf course. And again, like, you need to have an understanding of what your golf swing is and what you do so that you can figure out, how to play certain shots. Again, like knowing what your misses are and where they go. It's not so much knowing what they are, it's more along the lines of knowing what they are and where they can go. It's a two-parter, okay? So you got to know what they are, and you got to know where they go. Also, when the pressure's on, stay away from trying to hit the hero shot. I'll be honest with you. They end badly. Very, very, very badly. If you hit fades, keep hitting fades. Don't try and get out there and be like, hey, I've faded the ball for the last 20 years. Today, I'm going to start hitting some draws. Don't do that. That's going to get you. That's going to get you in a whole heap of trouble. Okay, so don't try and hit the hero shot. Stay as far away from the hero shot as possible. In fact, always take your medicine. When you're playing under pressure, you're going to hit some bad shots. I mean, more often than not, you are definitely going to hit some bad shots. Take your medicine and just move on. Okay, it's golf. There's. Oh my gosh, man! I can't tell you how many times I've seen people try and pull off hero shots, and it's ended so badly. People watch the guys on TV, and they see these great shots from the trees. They see these great shots from like 50 yards over the green. And they think, man, he can do it. I can do that too. I can pull off those shots. But what you don't realize is the turf conditions for the guys on TV are so much better than what they are anywhere else. And the golf courses are typically so much firmer. And when there's thick rough and you hit it into a gallery, the rough is all trampled down and you usually get a pretty solid lie. And so the hero shots aren't really so much a hero shot. It's a standard shot with like maybe a tree or two in the way. That's not a hero shot. That's a pretty standard shot that most really good golfers face on a regular basis. And so the announcers may talk up the hero shot and may say, "Oh my gosh, look at the shot he just hit. That's amazing. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, it wasn't that hard. Yeah, when the fairways are rock hard and he's hitting a little low draw from underneath a tree and it rolls 75 yards and it runs up onto the green. Yeah, that's not really that hard because the fairway's super firm. Try doing that on an average golf course, a non-tour level golf course where the fairways are soft and long and not so tight. Okay, that ball's going to hit and stop. It's going to end up 40 yards short of the green, and they're going to have to struggle to get up and down. That's realistic golf. That's what most golfers face. Golfers don't face tour course conditions. Hardly ever. So, I mean, when you think of a hero shot and you hear an announcer say hero shot, it's not the same as what you experience. It's not the same as what you're pretty much what you're ever going to experience. Very few golf courses are set up like a tour course day in and day out. Don't get me wrong, there's some out there that are. There's some golf courses out there that have really, really good course conditions all year round. And you could honestly say, hey, this is tour level course conditioning right now. But odds are, it's not week in and week out. And odds are, you're not playing it. So don't try and hit the hero shot. It's just going to end really, really badly for you. Now, when you're out there, you want to focus on fairways. You want to focus on quality approach shots that are in your wheelhouse. And you want to give yourself a chance to make putts. And so let's take a look at that statement right there and kind of work at it backwards. You want to give yourself a chance to make putts. That means giving yourself makeable putts. Putts that don't break a ton. Putts that only break a couple inches. Uphill putts. Okay, uphill putts that break just an inch or two. Those are makeable putts. Those are the putts you want to give yourself. So focus on giving yourself those putts, especially when you're chipping around the green. When you're chipping around the greens, you have a lot more control and a lot more say of where you want the ball to end up. Okay, so if it's better to be 4 feet below the hole, than it is to be 2 feet above the hole than be below the hole. Like, you can do that. That's a shot that you can easily play. And that's something that's in your wheelhouse. Making an uphill 4-footer is in your wheelhouse. Missing a downhill 2-footer will not only hurt your score, but it's also going to hurt your confidence. So don't leave yourself those shots. Give yourself the uphill 4-footer. Make quality approach shots that are in your wheelhouse. So if you always fade the ball, keep fading the ball onto the green. Okay, take it all the way to the bank. Take what you do good and keep doing it. There's no reason not to. All right, keep things simple. There's no reason to try and do something that you've never done before or don't usually do. Play shots that are in your wheelhouse. And again, focus on hitting fairways. Hitting fairways is something that people take for granted because the guys on TV don't hit a lot of fairways all the time. And it's true. Like, a lot of those guys don't hit a lot of fairways all the time. And they still play well, and they still win a lot of golf tournaments. Most notably was Tiger Woods. Didn't seem to ever be in the fairway. And he would still win 5, 6, 7 times a year. So, but that's not how most golfers should play golf. So focus on hitting fairways and giving yourself, good distances into the green so you can hit quality approach shots that are in your wheelhouse to give yourself makeable putts. And like I said, the best way to make more putts is to give yourself makeable putts. And so know what putts you do the best. So if you putt left to right putts the best, then give yourself as many left to right putts as you can get. If you putt right to left putts the best, then give yourself the most right to left putts that you can give yourself. Let's keep rolling. Now, you want to play to your strengths. Sometimes the best spot for you is the hardest approach shot. Sometimes you're just going to have to hit a really good shot to make a birdie. Other times, just play for par. The decision to hit a great shot depends on you and how you are playing that day. If you are hitting great shots, go for it. If you are struggling, maybe play it safe. The goal is to shoot great scores, not bad ones. And a par is always better than a bogey or worse. And 18 pars is really, really good on most days. Just saying. It may not look pretty. It may be kind of boring. But lots of pars is where it's at. And plus, just because you're hitting lots of greens and you don't give yourself makeable birdie putts, doesn't mean you won't be able to roll one in from a different zip code. Hey, it happens. So just keep that in mind. Don't get down on yourself for 2-putting all the time for par. Every once in a while, you roll one in. Sometimes, no matter what you do, things aren't going to work in your favor. And that's life, and that's golf. So just deal with it and get better. Very few golfers have the ability to fire at pins all day and break course records. It may seem like PGA Tour players do it on a regular basis, but in reality, for every time they try and do that, they usually fail and fall way, way, way down the leaderboard. And you never hear about it because they never get on TV, and the announcers don't talk about them. So it's actually something that happens very, very common. You see guys on Sunday, they try and shoot, the guys. A lot of times the guy that's like 1 shot back or 2 shots back of the leader, he's firing at every pin, and he goes out and shoots 76. He'll shoot 4 or 5 over, and he'll fall 35 places down the leaderboard. You won't see him on TV. They won't ever talk about him. They'll keep the cameras off him as much as possible. And so that's why you never hear about guys doing it. But you do hear about guys always succeeding doing it. The PGA Tour television coverage is very, very good at only showing you good shots. Very rarely do you see bad ones. The only time you see bad ones is when it's live and when it's a leader hitting that shot. So keep that in mind. You'll never, ever, ever see a bad shot. Almost never, ever, ever see a bad shot from a player that's not in contention. They don't put them on TV. So play smart, play to your strengths, give yourself makeable putts, and focus on your own game. That's how you play your best under pressure. So does that make sense? I think so. Let's move on. So we're going to move on to what I'm working on. So I'm still working on getting my flexibility and range of motion better by doing my Yoga for Golfers. It is a great, great DVD. I can't stress how good it is. Again, it's really cheesy. It was done like 20-something years ago. But but I like it. It's totally helping me with getting with my issue of getting to my left side too early. So getting to my left side too early causes me to block shots to the right, and then sometimes hook them to the left. It's no good. It's a two-way miss. So getting more flexible is helping me prevent that. Moving on to the tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is about course management. When you're out on the course, there are times when hitting a good shot, an average shot, and a bad shot might all end up in a good spot. And there are times when a good shot, average shot, and a bad shot all end up in a terrible spot. Identify the situations where these situations may occur and plan accordingly. Let me explain that a little bit more. Sometimes when you're playing, from your current lie, a good shot may be to the front of the green. An average shot may also be to the front of the green. And a bad shot may all end up in the front of the green. And you can hit a bad shot, maybe chunk one, hit a little behind it, and the fairway's really firm, and so it lands 25 yards short of the green and bounces a couple times and rolls right to the front. And you could be at a really bad line in the rough, and you hit a really good shot and gets to the front of the green. And you're in the fairway, and you hit it okay, a little thin, and it comes up a little short, but you're on the front of the green. And so those all ended up in a fine spot. And then there are times where you hit a good shot, and you say, man, I flushed that, I hit it perfect. And it lands right next to the hole on this little teeny tiny little mound that's really, really firm and spits it way over the green. Or you hit a pretty good shot. You're like, oh, I got that a hair thin. And it lands like 5 or 6 yards short of the flag on a downslope in the middle of the green and skips over. And there's times where you hit a bad shot and you know you hit it bad and you chunk it and it comes up short in the water. So you need to identify like, hey, what happened with your good ones? What happened with your bad ones? Did you do something wrong, or was it the course that jumped up and get you? Remember, it's not always your fault that you hit a bad shot, but you're the one ultimately responsible for it. That's golf. Deal with it. Now, remember, on most golf courses, short is usually good, and left and right is almost always bad. So greens angled differently than the shape of the hole can cause a lot of issues on approach shots. So if the hole is a dogleg to the right, and then the green bends back to the left, this can cause some problems. Or if the hole slopes from left to right, and the green is pitched from right to left, again, this can cause some problems. Slight misses could prove to be disastrous. So just keep this stuff in mind. I know it's maybe a little bit vague, and it's hard to explain on a podcast, but just remember that like usually golf courses that have fairway in front of the greens, that's where you want to miss the ball. Because a lot of times they like to have slopes and rough, left and right and long. So just keep that in mind. And that's all I have for you this week. As always, thank you for tuning in and listening. I always really appreciate my listeners, downloading my podcast. So thanks for listening, and I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with me, learning more about golf. So again, stay tuned for more golfing goodness coming your way in the coming weeks. I have some really, really good podcasts that I'm going to be putting together. So please stay tuned, and I hope you get as much enjoyment out of them as I get putting them together. So I'll let you go. We'll see you soon.